right. Hi, everybody. This is Carol from STS. This is the Adult Cardiac Surgery monthly webinar for June 3rd. Let's see if my, we're going to get stuck in, we're going to get stuck at the beach. Okay, so on the line with me today, I have from Iqvia, we have Steve Merslak, Michelle Choi, Jean Lysak, and Melanie Bent. From STS, Leanne Jones, Emily Conrad, Sydney Clinton, and Addie Dolan. So thanks everybody for joining. We're going to get started here. First, important dates from STS, Iqvia update, and then some education along with Q&A. I just want to apologize for the last minute cancellation on the user group call for May. I had I hit my head and I have a concussion, and I'm okay, I'm doing fine, but I had to cancel last minute because that week was not a good week. So we're back and getting started here. Okay. Important dates for adult cardiac. 3 of these dates were up to June 3rd here, but the Harvest 2 closed on May 28th. The opt-out was June 2nd. So Iqvia will be sending that data over to DCRI within the next week or so. They're finalizing some QCing on their side, and then they ship it over there. We're at our monthly webinar today, June 7th. We are planning to release the H1 2021 report. So keep your eyes open for that. And we'll post notification in the notification tab on the Iqvia platform when that's available. And remember, that is a star rating report. User group call is on June 16th at 2 p.m. Central Time. Aql Abstracts are due on June 18th by midnight Eastern Time. And then we have our next user group call on July 21st. The monthly webinar for July is canceled. That's the week of 4th of July. I will be out of the office, and I hope you guys are going to take, you all are going to take advantage of the short week and nice weather, hopefully. So I canceled that one, and then we'll have our user group call, but we'll use it more as education. If there's things that we need to talk about, we'll certainly do that on the user group call. Kind of getting out a little bit further, August 13th is the next harvest close date. So make sure you're working on getting your data in and cleaning it up. You can even do that now. Make sure you're working on continuous submission, getting your data in so you're prepared for the harvest close on August 13th. And then we have AQO October 12th through the 15th. Adult cardiac will be on October 14th, and that will be virtual this year. Next year, we are hoping that we are together, and I think we're supposed to be someplace not on Zoom. So that'll be good. STS updates. Harvest 4 report was released. That's in your Iqvia platform. Harvest 1 is to be released this weekend. So check on Monday to see if it's posted in the notification tab, and that will be a star rating report. Audit is on its way, is ongoing. Notifications, instructions have gone out, and HMS, who is our audit company this year, is moving along quite nicely. Upgrade 2023 is starting this fall, and I ask that you send suggestions no later than July 20th. I am keeping a folder. I'm responding to the emails I receive regarding the suggestions. Some of them that I have received, I've been able to respond and provide a little further insight about why we can't do things a certain way or why something was done a specific way to kind of answer those questions right now. But if you have any suggestions, please send them in. No suggestion is stupid, and I really want to hear them. If it's something I can clarify or something that I can put in the file for next upgrade, I'll do that. Again, Aql abstracts are due on June 18th, and Aql will be free for all data managers associated with an active participant. The registration is not yet open, but keep an eye on the page, and I'll show you where to go later on in this presentation to just check to see when Aql will be open, and we will notify sites as well. The next part is for the ACSD Mentorship Program, and I'm going, ACS Mentorship Program, I'm going to hand it over to Addie Dolan, who is a coordinator here at STS and who manages our mentorship program. So Addie, if you're there, thank you so much for joining us, and please go ahead and tell us about the mentorship program.
Yes, thank you, Carol. Hi, everyone. My name is Addie, and I help out with the Data Mentorship Program. For those of you who are not familiar with it, STS uses an online questionnaire, and it's linked here on the page on the Data Manager Education page. And we'll take that questionnaire to pair experienced data managers with those who are seeking advice related to data abstraction. So we're definitely encouraging everyone who wants to participate to go ahead and complete that questionnaire. However, right now we are really looking for new mentors. So if you're an experienced data manager and this sounds like something you'd be interested in, or even if you already participate and you're able to take on additional mentees, please go ahead and complete that questionnaire. Feel free to reach out to me directly at my email. And we would definitely like to, pair as many mentees with mentors as possible. So yeah, if you have any questions about it, please let me know, or go ahead and complete that form, and we would love to have you participate. Thanks, Carol.
Great, thank you, Addie. Thank you, that's very helpful. And I'll show folks, this is a screenshot of where the Data Manager Mentorship Program link is located, but I'm going to show you where that is at on the actual website in just a few minutes here. The next thing I wanted to bring up is we released a cardiothoracic surgery ebook. If you're clinical, if you're non-clinical, this book will is a great addition to your library and will help expand your knowledge regarding cardiothoracic surgery. It includes adult and pediatric and general thoracic surgery. So it's great for all three databases. I'm sure it also touches on Intermax and LVAD devices, LVADs. It's available online, and there's a mobile app. 300 chapters. It's a very large book, hand-drawn illustrations. It took a long time to put this together. This is the first one I think that we've put out. It's a really great resource tool for you to understand the procedures that your surgeons are performing, and just give you a little bit more background so you can kind of grasp what they're doing in the OR slightly better if you don't have that experience. So you could find more out about it at sts.org/ebook. And Leanne did not pay me for that advertisement, although she loves the book. Okay, next up is the Iqvia update from Steve. Steve, I'm handing it over to you.
Thank you, Carol. Good afternoon, everyone. Can we start with the next slide? The below items were released in the May 2021 update. And please note that the items are posted under the notifications menu on the Iqvia platform. So most of it was focused on the risk-adjusted dashboard updates, STS 6512, the CSD risk-adjusted dashboard report is the display of an incorrect calculation for the missing percent result for classification NYHA located in the benchmark reports under status, and this is now resolved. The STS 6614, the ACSD risk-adjusted dashboard report under the risk-adjusted regional isolated mitral valve repair displayed incorrect values for the inpatient hospital mortality for the participant and the STS results, and this has been resolved.
Sort of is hospitality, isn't it? Okay, next slide.
Next slide. And continuing on, STS 6562, the risk-adjusted report, benchmark report calculations have been updated. So for race, we updated the variable calculation to include the new 4.20.2 multi-race variable. Smoking counseling was retired on 6/30, so we updated the variable calculation to consider the discontinuation of this variable. Left main disease greater than or equal to 50, we removed the missing line item, so that's been removed from the report. Mitral inefficiency, updated the variable calculation to consider the 4.20.2 variable mitral valve regurgitation. And aortic insufficiency, we updated the variable calculation to consider the 4.20.2 variable aortic valve regurgitation.
Those are, I know, those are big ones. Sorry.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I having a hard time filling in Joe's shoes, that's for sure.
No, you're doing great.
The uploader updates, STS 1812, the DQR displayed two unique usual range of warnings for the ICU hours, and where there should only been one warning, so it was just the same warning basically displayed twice. So this has now been resolved in this last release.
Okay.
Next slide. And continue on, the risk score match report, STS 6467. We resolved the covariant calculation for the TV repair valve value, which caused erroneous mismatches in the risk score match report. And the missing variable report, STS 6503, the on-demand values are files version number variable, which was showing missing in the missing variable report, has been fixed in this release. Next slide, please. This is the.
Oh, I guess we got two.
Next slide.
Uh-oh.
You're just seeing if I'm paying attention.
Sorry. There you go.
Okay, and the following items are targeted for release this weekend on June 5th. And note that these items will be posted in the notifications menu on the Iqvia platform once it's been completed. So the risk adjusted dashboard report will be updated with the Harvest 1 2021 analyzed data set from DCRI, and as well as a longitudinal outcomes report will be updated with the Harvest 1 2021 analyzed data set from DCRI.
Very good, thank you. And Steve, I don't know if you know this or if Melanie knows this. How long will it take to get the longitudinal outcomes report updated? Will it be at the same time, or is there going to be a slight delay?
It would be at the same time.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, last one, I think.
And Iqvia's will be posting a full list of known issues and enhancements list in the library for your reference. The posting should be available in the library menu on June 4th, 2021.
Perfect, thank you. And then if you are submitting any questions regarding the Iqvia platform and you have already submitted it to Iqvia, please include your ticket number. Iqvia, they're under review right now. And doing so will help Iqvia look that up while we're on the call today. All right, and then the Iqvia support plan, which, I screwed up my slide, so ignore that, the last one. Next, we're gonna go to I told you I have a concussion. Next, we're going to go to the ACSD education. I wanna talk about the STS webpage navigation and the Iqvia platform. I realize that this is a few days late, but I still wanted to go over it because I thought it was, I think it's going to be helpful, and at least you'll have this webinar as a reference for the next time. I didn't have a whole lot more to educate on today. Melinda is off this week, so I didn't want to do any clinical education without her on to make sure we're consistent with our answers. So the first thing, I'm going to minimize this page. And Steve, I have to tell you a funny story. Before I became a nurse, I was working at the surgeon's office trying to decide what I wanted to do. I was pretty young and I'm getting some great experience, but I didn't think I had what it meant or had what it takes to go into nursing. So I was a little timid, and I decided that I was sitting next to my boss at that time. Her name was also Donna. And I told her I wanted to be a phlegmologist. And she said, somebody who studies phlegm, but I meant a phlebologist. So yes, so we all have when we get into the medical side of things, I think we've all struggled with pronunciation and things like that. So don't ever worry about that stuff.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so I wanted to show you all the STS homepage. And this is the STS homepage, and I wanted to point out a couple resources within the STS website that are relevant for you all. The first is under the meetings tab, and this is where you're going to find information about AQO. It's also linked to from within the registry, but this is where you'll find under live courses, you'll find the AQO information. And when you're, if you're submitting an abstract, this is where you'll find the guidelines and where to submit it. And also this is where registration, you'll find registration information. There was a question in the email regarding that registration was free this year. Regardless, it's free for those who are associated with a PID for a data manager, a backup primary or backup data manager who's associated with a PID. So if you have others at your site, and Addie, this is going to cause work for Addie, but if you have others at your site who are abstracting data and who may not be listed as a primary or backup data contact, you're going to want to get them, and you want them to have access to AQO this year. Be sure to reach out and update your participant contact form and get those folks added on, because if they're not listed as being associated with a PID, they will not have free registration. So you will find out here more information regarding AQO, and where once registration opens, this is where you'll find that information. The other thing I wanted to show you is this past course information. And I was kind of snooping around here to see, you can see this is last year's AQO. We had pretty good turnout, our biggest one yet. And we had a lot of great information. The platform is still open until October 12th, which is the first date of the new of 2021 AQO. And if you had already registered and you attended AQO in 2020, you can go back and review the videos that are posted within each. You just go to the platform and you can view the related sessions if you've already purchased it. Otherwise, there's information in here. I believe it's $200 to purchase these recordings, and there's a lot of great information. Dr. Whitman did a great presentation on hemodynamics and capturing the deteriorating patient. These are still applicable. It's the same version. Dr. Kim did a great anatomy presentation on the aorta. And then Dr. Desai and Nancy Honeycutt provided an abstraction walking through the form. I think this is all very, very good information. So I think it's a good refresher leading up to this next AQO, which happens in October. So if you've already purchased this and you attended AQO, go back and watch these sessions. If you haven't, I think $200 for all of this information, although you can't collect CEs. You can't collect CEs on this if you purchase it. The CE portion is all complete, but at least you get the information to help you do your job better and to give you a little bit more information regarding these certain sections prior to the next AQO. So again, that was under the live courses is for the next AQO, for AQO 2021. And then past courses is where you'll find the information on the 2020 AQO. And again, that's open through October 12th or to October 12th. Okay, so I wanted to show you those. And then there was a question about the ebook. So I'll show you, let me see if I can find where that's at. I think it's, here it is. So online learning, which is the first tab here, and you'll find the ebook. There is a cost associated with the ebook, but it's well worth it for the amount of information and education you receive. Member price for either the cardiac or thoracic volume is $150. The full book is $300. Non-member price is $250. Full ebook is $500. I would just go ahead and ask to be an STS member so you can pay the $300, because I think you make it up. There's a difference in the price, and I think you make it up with that membership fee. So again, that information, more information on this ebook is provided under the online learning, oopsie, and then the STS cardiothoracic surgery ebook. Okay, quality and safety, that's where the database, well, not yet. We used to live under there, but now we're under registries. Quality and safety, this is where you'll find your performance measures, the NQF measures. We've gone through that in the past. Patient safety. So we have a patient safety we have a patient safety workforce, which Emily Conrad is the staff liaison for that. And here are the papers that have come out of that. So there's a lot of great information here. I just really want to point this out because I don't think folks, I don't know that everybody navigates around this site. I think they probably just go directly to the registries or have it bookmarked on their desktop. So I wanted to kind of point out some of this great information. We do get questions regarding, team approaches and things like that. So, and then surgical checklists. We have some of those pre-op surgical checklists. And then under the registries, we have the database. This is where you'll find public reporting, which was recently refreshed using 2019 data. Harvest 1 2020 data, which was OR dates through December 31st of 2019. The national database tab is where you'll find the 4 databases: adult, congenital, general thoracic, Intermax, PediMax. And lots of information on here with the tabs, quality performance measures, MIPS, pretty much all the resources you're looking for. And this link will direct you right over to the STS ACC TVT registry, which is housed on the ACC platform. So under the databases, on this page alone, there's so much information. Join the database if you're interested in becoming a participant. That you'll find that here. All the recordings to the previous webinars and dates for upcoming webinars are underneath the View Webinars. Clinical question form. This is where you'll submit your FAQs to Melinda. I wanted to point this out because I get some emails about questions that come in, and sometimes they're group emails, and it's really helpful if you can submit your clinical questions to the FAQ mailbox so we can be consistent in our answers. And if there's things that need to be tweaked within the training manual, we know that we can do that. We know we can do that. Melinda updates the training manual monthly. So, and then just within this important resource page, you'll find the link to AQO here. But I kind of wanted to go down this. The Data Manager Education tab is has reports, but here's where that mentorship program is. And then a lot of different information. The data manager surveys are also posted here, which is very helpful if you just want to see what other sites are doing and things like that. Additionally, the database forms. This is where you'll find your participant contact form if you need to remove or add somebody to your site to have access to the Iqvia platform, and the Schedule A for adding new surgeons and the Schedule B for adding new anesthesiologists. And then if you're switching vendors, that form is here as well. But the participant contact form is probably one of the most email requests I get related to this page. And so you would want to just click on here and fill it out with your information. Addie manages that as well. And she's very quick in responding and getting roles updated. And if you need to know what the roles are and how, what type of access a certain role has, this is where you would find it under database participant role description. Okay, and then our STS database news, you should be receiving these, but if you ever need to go to a previous copy, they're all posted here. And these come out, we release these every other, I think we do them 6 times a year. So the May, June one is posted already for adult cardiac. And regional database information on audits, our contact information. And then we have quite a few sites who are requesting the multiplier tables that are used for each harvest. It is posted in the Iqvia platform, but we've also posted a link here. This was just updated this week, and this will take you to the multiplier tables. You can get to the same spot within the Iqvia platform, and I'm going to show you where that's at in a second. I'm sorry, this is kind of a boring thing. We have the registry, advocacy, and our publications. I wanted to talk about resources really quick here. The risk calculator link is here, but I think these three, the clinical practice guidelines, the expert consensus statements, and STS endorsed clinical practice documents are ones that I have referenced out a lot to folks. So under clinical practice guidelines, these are things like, your antibiotic prophylaxis. This, it needs to be updated. I think it's been a while since it's been updated, but they're working on that. Anticoagulation, blood conservation, things like that. And we have them for all three databases. And then under the expert consensus statements is where you'll find, here's one like resuscitation of patients who arrest after cardiac surgery. So although you may not be, you're part of the heart team, but although you may not be at bedside or you've limited bedside time, these types of things might be good to share among your team so they can see what STS recommends and their expert consensus documents, and then STS clinical practice documents. We don't have a whole lot, but management of malignant pleural effusions. The other thing, I'm not sure if folks noticed, but up here is this link to patients. This says patients, and this is our website and patient resources. So we have a patient website, and it has each of the groups, different procedures before and after surgery. So again, although you may not be in direct patient care, this is all really great information to share with your sites. Under adult, these, we go to the aortic dissection, it'll give you, and also it's probably great information if you're not very familiar with some of these procedures. It goes into information. These are reviewed by the surgeon task force. I review them as well just to make sure the language is easy to read and relevant, or I guess, at a level that our patients would understand it. So there's lots of information here, lots of great pictures, diagrams, and things like that. When we go back to the patient, let's see if I can get back to the page. We'll go back to the patient resources. Lots of great handouts for your patients, what to expect after heart surgery, different languages and things like that. So I know a lot of sites already provide these to their patients, but if you don't want to reinvent the wheel, this one comes direct, from the STS. And I too reviewed this one, and from a nursing perspective, kind of updated it for the patients to make good sense for them. So again, great resources on the STS website for you, your team, and for the patients. The other thing I wanted to do, so that's kind of, I'm going to end there with the STS website. I think there's a lot of great resources. Oh, I know, one more thing on the STS for adult cardiac. I wanted to talk about the surgeon worksheets real quick here. And I know we talked about them before. The worksheets are posted in both PDF and Word version. So you have to click on the part that says Word version to open it in Word. We normally don't post things in Word at STS. We normally just post things in PDF. But the reason I asked for this to be posted in Word is that these are really generic for the database, and they're intended to be manipulated at the site level to work for you and your surgeons. So although these forms, I'll just open it in PDF so I can show you. At least these forms are, very detailed, and maybe your surgeons are already dictating a lot of this in their consultations, and they really don't need to be on the worksheet. You can go ahead and edit the Word form, take off what needs to be taken off, add what needs to be added, and just really make it your own. Work with your surgeons, work with your CV surgery team, perfusion and anesthesiologist to see what makes sense for your team to be filling out that you need help with for abstraction. So again, they're very detailed, and you may not even need all this. You might be fine with it. You might just need the procedure information and the additional procedural information, and you can get rid of the rest of it. Do what makes sense for you and your surgeons, and feel free to edit it however you need to. Again, post it in Word version so you can do that easily. All right. Now I'm going to go over, get rid of that guy. I wanted to talk about, and I still have time, so that's not the one. There it is. Okay, hold on. Let me pull it up here. I wanted to talk about the Iqvia. Let's see if I can find my login here real quick. I wanted to talk about the Iqvia platform, and I apologize that I was not able to do this prior to harvest close. I really wanted to. It didn't work out, but I can talk to you now about it. So I'm going to sign in here. And I want to show you, first, we're updating. So this is the notification tab. We're cleaning this up so it's not so bulky and not too many notifications. So you'll notice that a lot of them have been removed. And in going forward, this title line, when a new report is updated or available, when a new report becomes available, we will have this title line identify that report is now available. So you should be seeing that next Monday, that the new report for Harvest 1 is available. And then I'm going to go through the library, and then we'll get to the operational reports. The library tab, they're also, you'll see here, it's a work in progress right now. Iqvia is actively working on this. It's been alphabetized to help you find actually, I think it's done. It looks good, Melanie. It's been alphabetized, and they moved some of these Acsd language over to the end, so it's not all cluttering up the front of this. So they went, Melanie and her team went through. You can find, here's the multiplier table link if you're interested in that. The national report overview, which is probably the most, I would probably say one of the, if not the most open document to understand your report. And then additional things that are listed here in alphabetical order to help you better navigate this page. So I hope that's helpful, and thanks Melanie and team for doing that so quickly. And then I wanted to go under operational reports and talk about these first three. And cleaning up your data and getting ready for a harvest close. And maybe this is going to be more relevant, and we can certainly do it again. But I kind of wanted to tell you how I would do this if I were in your shoes trying to clean up my data. And we all have different processes. We all submit data differently. But let's say that I submit a file, and the steps I would take is, first I want to check out my harvest summary report. When I go into this report, I enter my dates and apply parameters. And let's see if we can easily do this here and maybe not take up too much time. I was just going to do a small time frame. Sometimes I feel like I'm on a cooking show, talking through my steps. So I just selected a small time frame for the harvest summary report. This is I don't have any harvest summary report because I have, I'm in the STS record, and I don't, let me go to another one here. Hold on one second. That has some data in it, and another test one for me. So there we go. So I'm going to go, the first thing I'm going to do after I upload, and I see that my upload was successfully submitted, and I get the green checkbox and all that stuff. I'm going to go to the harvest summary report, and on the harvest summary report. So again, this is the first thing I'm going to do after my file is uploaded. This isn't going to like me today. Sorry, guys. Oh, there we go. The first thing I'm going to do is I want to make sure, I know that if I have critical errors, I want to make sure that I address those immediately. Those are going to prevent a record from going in, not the whole file. If you gotten to this point, the whole file is there, but there might be some records that had critical, and it would be listed here. I want to check those criticals, and I want to make sure that they're correct. The other thing that might be listed here are errors. And I kind of liken this to when we had the paper DQRs and going through and what steps would I take to clean that up. I'm going to look at the most critical things. I'm going to clean those up right away. I'm going to look at my errors next. Each error needs to be addressed. Most of them can be resolved. Most of them should be resolved. An error will not prevent the record from going in, but you should really look at it because it means something logical is probably not right in there. So if you select the error part, you would, just click on the error thing and you could select the records and search your vendor software by the V number and things like that. And then the warnings are probably, they're probably okay. They're probably not anything that you need to be alarmed about. It might be things like, hey, you said your lab value was this. This seems really odd. Are you sure? And we know that most cardiac surgery patients are going to have really kind of weird or outside of normal lab values. So most of these are going to be all okay. My suggestion is just to do a quick glance at these, and you should know your data pretty well, or whomever is entering it should know the data pretty well, that you can just scroll through this list and say, yeah, that all makes sense. I mean, that if every patient has a low sodium or high sodium or whatever it is, that's probably pretty normal. But if you see anything that catches your attention, check into it and just verify that, yeah, it's okay and I can go forward with this. You probably will never have a completely green circle here. You're probably always going to have warnings, and that's expected. So this is the first thing I'm going to check. And I can see here, what does this tell me? It tells me the date range I'm looking at, and it tells me how many numbers of records for the surgery date range. This is very easy to verify off of against your OR log or against the cases that you submitted into your vendor software by checking this same time frame. So there's a check on your number of records. And then if you wanted to do the whole year time frame, you can certainly do that just to verify that your yearly case count matches this. So these are all things that this is the first step I would take. And then I'm going to go back and let's see if I can go back. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go into my missing variable report. The missing variable report is going to tell you, I'll pick the same date range. It's pretty inclusive list of all of the variables that are missing within the whole database. Now, if your site never collects BMP, that you're going to have a lot of missing variables, a lot of high missingness for that factor. And that's okay, right? And we know that not all sites collect certain things, and that's totally fine. So your all tab is going to be your total missing variable. Your risk adjusted models, these are your risk variables. Your NQF, National Quality Forum, these are variables that play into NQF. Again, a lot of the risk adjusted models are also used in the NQF. So there's a lot of overlap. You'll probably find most of those models that are used in the NQF calculation up in the risk model variable calculation, and then by PROC ID. So the first thing, probably what's most important, if I'm short on time and I really need to get this done, and I hope that I have time to go back and everything, the first thing I want to check is going to be my risk adjusted models. The reason why I want to check this is because this is what's used in my calculating my observed to expected rate, which is used to calculate your star ratings. So I want to go and I want to check this risk adjusted model. I want to hit the button. Remember, again, I don't see the time frame on here, but we did only select that month time frame.
To the left. It was showing on the left-hand side.
Oh, is it there?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, here it is.
Range.
Thank you.
You're
so I'm going to go back to my risk adjusted. And there, sorry, Melanie, thank you. And here's the date range. And I can see for my risk model variables for all the cases that were entered in this time, I only have 2 variables that have missingness. And the variables I know that that's expected. I recognize these cases, and maybe I'm going to say, that's weird. I have 2 of these cases I didn't abstract that on. I better go check to make sure that I really don't have that data. Because this is going to affect your outcomes, right? It's going to affect your calculations for your observed to expected, and it could potentially affect the risk that's associated with that patient, which you want to make sure you're using all that risk to calculate your expected outcomes. Like secondary insurance, I would just go to make sure, did I check something wrong or what's going on here? Secondary insurance is used in the risk stratification of patients. So just make sure that these truly are missing. The next thing is the national quality form. And let's see if that pulls up. Nope, I cleaned that all up. I'm doing good. And then by PROC ID, I want to look at this. Oh, no data for, so I cleaned everything up. The only thing I have missing are these 2 things. I must have already gone in and verified, and they're for sure missing. All right, I'm good there. So that was my next step. So first step, I checked my harvest summary report. Next step, I'm checking my missing variable report. And then I'm going to go into the adult cardiac participant dashboard. This is your non-analyzed data. And I'm going to select the same date range. And again, you do what's comfortable for you. Select a time period that's comfortable for you to select, for you to review. It's possible that you do 1,000 cases at your site, and it's only reasonable for you to review this in 2 weeks at a time. Then do that and do what works for you. Don't and I'm just going to check cabbages on this one. Don't think that you have to review everything all in one sitting. Just take steps with it. So I selected the same time period. I'm just going to do my cabbage procedures right now. I'll go back and check these other ones later. But I'm here. I am. It's going to pull up your, you all know this screen pretty well. It's going to pull up the different sections within the data database, and this is where I'm going to check to make sure I don't have anything crazy missing. Now, I already checked my risk factors, so I know that my risk is being calculated with all the potential risks that patient entered the OR with. The Acsd, this Cabbage Report, this is going to show me things that I have missing. So my site is this column here. And I just want to scroll down to see if I have anything out of the ordinary within this section. I'm also looking, go to risk factors and do that. And just kind of do a once over. This is kind of your final, this is going to be your final check to make sure it doesn't seem wonky, that nothing seems off. And, like, hey, I remember, I did that one patient, or we had that one patient who was kind of a different case. And I know that I thought that I coded it correctly. And you might see in here that I better go check that case and see. This I did really good here. I know that it looks like everything is accounted for. I don't have anything crazy missing. This is where you're going to check your mortality fields and verify that you're under that 2% less than 2% or less threshold for the missing mortality fields. And for some reason, it opens up to where you last left it. So just make sure that you're at the top, and there's like kind of 2 scroll things, right? You have your screen scrolling, you have this guy scrolling. So just be aware of that, and you'll be fine. So I'm just looking through here, making sure nothing looks weird. And then I get down to my mortality fields, my mortality at 30-day status, my missingness, it's good. I'm at 0%. My mortality date missingness is at 0%. My mortality OpD, which is that field for patients who were discharged alive, died after discharge, or discharged to hospice. That's at 0% missing. I'm doing good there. This mortality plus died in hospital, this is going to be your definite operative mortality, which is used in the outcome. So I want to see what that is. I'm okay. And then status at hospital discharge. I'm looking pretty good. I don't have anything really missing and nothing that's really standing out to me. So I look pretty good here, but this is where this is the section again, where you're going to verify your mortality fields and the thresholds for those fields and make sure your missingness is underneath that 2% or less. So those are things I wanted to show you. So again, just to recap on that, if I'm doing this and you all do what you need to do, but if I'm doing this and I'm sitting trying to figure out a method to clean up my data, the things I'm going to do first is my harvest summary report, make sure my data is getting in the door, make sure that my data is clean coming in the door and that I am not missing anything or I didn't do anything wrong in the data. Then the next I'm going to check out is my missing variable report, making sure my risk models, my NQF measure, my PROC ID stuff is all covered and I'm not missing anything there and everything is going to get risk adjusted appropriately. And I do that by just checking my missing variable report. The next and final step before I'm satisfied with my harvest or the data that's going into harvest is just doing a glance at this participant dashboard. This is your raw non-analyzed data. And I'm going to do that just to make sure that nothing looks wonky. I'm going to check my mortality within this section and be happy with what's in here and give it the final okay. This participant dashboard is also things that you could share. Your surgeons have access to all of these. They just don't, they have a read-only access, so they can't upload data. They have access to all of these reports. But if I'm going to sit down with my surgeon to discuss anything prior to harvest close or to give a real-time update on data, I'm going to use this participant dashboard. This is going to provide them the most information from you for the non-analyzed data. So that's where I'm going to stop. I hope that was helpful. And I think we have some questions here. Sorry, I was talking so much. Okay, so that's that. Let me see here if I can get to the next slide. The Iqvia support plan, if you have any questions, please use your PID in all communications with STS and Iqvia so we can make sure it gets tracked correctly. We have dedicated support now for each of the database adult cardiac. You could email STS tech support or the dedicated email is ACSD tech support at Iqvia. We know that slide pretty well. My contact information is ccrone@sts.org. And then if you have operational questions, stsdb@sts.org. And that's it. So we'll go over to questions. Okay. First question is from Priya. It says, will H3 2021 include rolling 3-year data for Cabbage as previously mentioned? And yes, we are moving to the 36-month. So it'll be 36 months of data used for the Cabbage composite. And the confidence interval is going from a 98% to a little bit wider confidence interval of 95. And they are working on a video for posting. It will be posted soon to explain the new model. Could you explain how to access the full version on the ebook? I'm currently trying to view it, but it is asking about subscribing. So you may need to set up an account in CTSNet to do that. But if you have questions, you can reach out to education at STS. And I think, Leanne, if you're able to, would you mind putting that email in the chat box for everybody for education at STS? If you're there.
Yes, ma'am. I'll do it.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
When will calendar year 2020 data be ready? And we're expecting that report out beginning of next week. We'll notify sites in the notification tab. So make sure you're checking that Monday or Tuesday of next week to see that it's been released. Thank you, Iqvia, for planning to post a full list of known issues. I appreciate the transparency. So thank you, Iqvia. Oh, okay. Karen says, can Iqvia please develop a harvest summary report that includes case types, counts, provider counts, major complications, and mortality? So we just went over the harvest summary report is related to each harvest, and it's just looking at getting that data. I more or less use it as getting that data in the door. So I hope this presentation helped, Karen, and if it didn't, happy to address any other questions. The counts, case types, and things like that, I think that can all be looked at when you're in the, I hope I didn't close my screen. I think I did. That can all be looked at when you're in the, when you're in the participant dashboard. You can select the time frame. Oh, brother. I hope I don't make you guys feel like I'm driving drunk when I'm trying to navigate on the screen here in front of you. I apologize if it's annoying. So I select the time frame. I can select the procedure. I can select all if I wanted, but I'm going to select isolated cab. The first thing that pops up is the number of cases here. So you have your N for the number of cases. And then the other thing, provider counts, we do not provide. You can pull that out of your vendor software if you needed to. The reason we don't provide that is that STS leadership is still discussing whether we'll be able to sort by NPI or not. Major complications and mortality is provided in your non-analyzed dashboard. When will we start getting the big 280-page ACSD data analysis report that we have been used to? You will not receive that. Those have gone away and we've gone to dashboard reporting. The national report overview, which made up a good chunk of that, is under the resource library. So resources library, ACSD national report overview. This is the front matter of that report that you would receive every quarter. That's posted here. The rest of the data you can, you can go into the risk adjusted dashboard. You can download the most recent report, or you can go back there, all listed here. The next one to be posted will be data through 12/31/2020. And you can download these reports into a PDF format for your surgeons if you wanted to share them that way. Otherwise, you, if you're doing in-person meetings with them, I think it's just as easy and probably a little bit more cooler if you, not that we all want to be cool, but I think it would be cool to be able to share this real time, click on what they need right in front of them, not have to flip pages, and really get familiar with your data here and how to read this new report instead of handing them a PDF report. So if you do your CV meetings, CVT meetings, it's probably really better to be sharing this in person, and then also be able to have your EHRs open. So if you need to go into a patient's chart, you can do that as well pretty easily all together in that meeting. Just what I think would be helpful. If a patient had a cabbage and an ASD repair, this is an isolated cabbage, correct? So we find that under the PROC ID chart. Cabbage is the first column, and we're looking for ASDs. So here's the other cardiac. ASD repair has to be nowhere missing to be included in the isolated cabbage category. So no, this would not be an isolated cabbage. Can you please clarify in the June FAQs? Yeah. So the question from Jenny, and this was updated, it was actually in the training manual. Melinda and I had a little disconnect in our communication on this one, and we clarified it this month. It says, where it says thoracotomy and other, both lists to capture mini thoracotomy, right, left parasternal thoracotomy. Which approach do we capture it under, thoracotomy or other? Mini thoracotomies go under thoracotomy. And I thought we crossed part of it off just to clarify that further. So thoracotomy, we're going to collect right or left parasternal thoracotomy, limited or mini thoracotomies, all under thoracotomy. Other includes transverse sternotomy, subcostal approach. I wonder if maybe did the strikeout not show up on the FAQ summary document? That's what happened. I'll have to repost this. It looks like the strikeout didn't cross over here. So thanks for pointing that out, Jenny. I'll get that updated today. Can you please clarify update to number 972 doesn't seem like? Yeah, I think that there's probably part of this. I'll have to review this again. I think that the crossouts didn't, when I PDF'd it, I think it didn't come across correctly. Nope. So no crossouts for this one. So indicate whether the patient, this is patient in AFib at OR entry. And it says indicate whether the patient is an AFib flutter, or a flutter at time of OR entry. Use the first documented prior to induction. I'm not sure if I got it right, but could you clarify, Jenny, if I'm missing something? Any idea when the ACE-ARB definition and discharge info will be on the harvest reports? Melanie, do we have any, or Melanie or Steve or Jean, do we have any updates on that?
Let me check on that. I thought that it was available, so I'm taking a look.
Okay, thank you. Next question is from Bonnie. It says, I sent a question to Iqvia and was informed to send it to STS because it was clinical in nature. On the longitudinal dashboard for the measure short post-op stay less than 6 days, it appears that this encompasses the patients that did, I think you meant did not meet this measure. However, since this is a positive measure, higher percentage equals improves outcomes. I'm trying to understand why a decreasing rate would move me closer to the O to E expected. Well, it will appear that a decrease, I think we're going to have to review this one, Bonnie. It's a little technical for me to read and try to figure out. Sometimes I have to go back and forth and look at different things to see what the question is referring to. So if you could send this over to me in an email, that I would really appreciate it. Sorry, I can't get to it on the webinar today. I think for the STS member, you need letters and references, or am I mistaken? I think you just need to put your emails in for references and just let them know that you're requesting, and then STS will reach out to those folks. Previously, that's for the non-physician membership. Previously, we had easy access to our current surgeon and contact information. Is this something that will be made available in the future? Yes, we will have that access available in the future. We are working on the integration between STS and Iqvia to make that available. And I don't know if we have a rough timeline yet. Melanie, do you know? That's the CRM integration. I know you're looking up something else too, sorry.
The CRM integration, I am not 100% sure.
Yeah, it is coming and it is. Thanks. I didn't think we did, but maybe I missed something. I know it's something that we are working on and that will be coming in the future. Is there any STS update on the BS target interop? What is the range? Does STS have any report or quality measure on the data we enter highest interop glucose? Oh, is there any STS update on the blood sugar target interop? What is the range? I don't know that we have anything out there that has anything related to the blood sugar interop. You might have to do your own manuscript research on that to see what's out there. But STS, I've looked before and I didn't see anything on the STS website regarding that. For submission, I thought all errors were changed to critical, and we now only have critical errors that have to be addressed and warnings that need to be reviewed. No, there are still errors. Not all errors were changed to warnings, but there were some that were changed, like the logical errors of your surgery date is before your admission date, or your OR exit date is before is before your OR entry date. Those types of things were accidentally marked as errors previously, and we changed those to critical. So still check out all your errors. Your critical errors have to be fixed. Check out your errors to make sure that it should be very random that an error does not need to be fixed. So check out your errors if you have them, make sure that they're corrected. And then the warnings again are just a review. Probably you're going to expect those warnings to have populated. When a data set is re-uploaded, can the full number of records in the harvest be displayed and then the number updated? So the overall summary of the harvest counts, that's where you're going to, see if I can get back there. That's where you're going to find that on your, under the harvest summary report, if you put the date range, is that right, Melanie? And you select, you'll see the number.
You can see that information on this report. If you put in that specific date range, you can also look at on your uploader, on your data quality report, there is another tab that's called a critical summary. And the critical summary is going to show you the total counts that were included in your data submission. So each time you resubmit, that will continue to capture that information to show you the total number in your submission.
Can I get to the uploader screen from here?
Not on this site that you're on. You
Okay.
can most likely on the on your 999.
Oh,
Maybe.
okay, let's see.
I think your role drives that.
Is it under operational reports?
Oh, it's your role. Yeah, your role is not going to allow you to get there. So
Okay, that's okay. But under the, when you first log in and you get to the uploader screen, that's where you would see the tabs down here at the bottom. And that's where you'd be able to look for that information. I just checked our risk score match report, and it looks like there are still no match results for the mitral clip cases. So mitral clips are transcatheter cases. I'm assuming this is transcatheter, Tricia. They should not be calculating a risk score for those cases.
And Carol, just an update in regards to the ACE and ARB. I think that's on the list for an update for the dashboard to display. So those are discharge meds, I believe.
Okay, thank you. Oh, I guess we're at time. Okay, I'll go through the rest of the question. Oh, you want to see the emails again? Yep. There. Okay.
And Carol, I do have to drop. I apologize.
That's okay. Yeah, I'm sorry, everybody. It looks like we're at time. So I appreciate everybody joining. Sorry we didn't get through all the questions. I'll see if there's any, if I need to reach out to anybody or pass these on to Iqvia for response. I think you can go, Melanie. Maybe I can stay on. Yeah, this is the last call I have today. So if folks want to stay on, I can try to answer these. Sorry about that. And I won't be able to answer the Iqvia questions, but thanks for joining, Melanie and team. And if anybody needs to drop, go ahead, but I'll see if I can get to these. Thank you, Melanie.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Repeating that, this is from Karen. Repeating the statement about risk match for mitral cases, that was a big mismatch. Iqvia responded that they should be other, not mitral repair or replace cases. Our vendor software also calculates risk. However, we have been told that per STS endovascular mitral cases were still isolated MV or MV replace. And no, that's not true. The transcatheter cases are all excluded from the PROC-ID chart. So, and I think we are going to, we have a call tomorrow with Iqvia because something else came up regarding the PROC-ID chart and the patients that are marked still in hospital alive not being excluded on the vendor side. So we have a call with Iqvia tomorrow to draft communication to vendors to address those issues. And I'll also bring up the transcatheter cases. Bonnie suggests that the filter for other cases is labeled as none. Can this be changed to other to avoid confusion? And we can bring that back to the Iqvia team and discuss that in elaboration. But I also ask if you could please reach out to ACSD tech support at Iqvia and just send them an email with that suggestion so they can track it. Next question, what is missing is the mismatch data checks. Like you said, there was no prior MI, but said the reason, yes, I know that that's missing, but said the reason for urgent surgery was unSTEMI. Those data checks are in place and they should be happening at your, I think at your vendor software level, but they should be also firing as a warning in your software. But if you're not getting a warning on that, please let me know, because that is one that we do have in the edits and checks that should be caught. So could you send me an email if you don't see that on your warnings list? And my email is there. What is the time frame for operative mortality missingness rate of 2% or less? Is it over a year? So it was previously it was the actual year. So you had to have each year that was in the harvest, 2017, 2018, 2019, each year had to have the 2% or less missingness. For harvest 3, that caused a problem because you have 2 years that only contain 6 months of data. So we have gotten away from that for this harvest 3, and it will be over, I believe it's going to be over the entire group, but I know where I can find more information on that and just verify under the library report overview. And I just have to scroll down to the missingness part. I think it's highlighted in yellow here, but let me get there. And again, if folks need to drop off, so it will be on rolling 12 months of data. And let's make sure. Rolling 12 months of data. So we will be looking at that starting in 2021 for harvest 3. It will be using the rolling 12 months of data. So for harvest 3, we'll look at cases from, I think it's July 1st, 2018 through June 30th of 2021. So we'll look at the 12 months of July 1st, 2018 through June 30th of 2019. That's what we'll check for the 2%. And we'll do the same for each of the 12 months that are added in after that. I usually always look at the risk score match report as well. And for me, this past submission could never get 100% match despite fixing identified variables. My vendor Lumedic said this is a known Iqvia issue. When will this be corrected? So I think our Iqvia team talked about those issues, resolve the covariant calculation for the tricuspid valve repair value, which caused erroneous. And I think there was other issues that are being reviewed at Iqvia related to that. If you have a specific issue that you know about and you haven't reported it yet to Iqvia, I think you should just send them an email and let them know that this is an issue that you identified. So we don't assume that it's being fixed. It might be something else that's going on. Also, there was a change in the PROC ID in 2.9, which the vendors did not have to address, and that was related to the tricuspid repair cases. Not every vendor made the update, the tricuspid repair changes to the PROC ID. So if it's one of those, that might also be why there's not 100% match depending on the date of the case. But again, I would just send it into the Iqvia support so they can track it. Can surgeon-specific reports be queried? So the surgeon-specific reports are reports that the surgeons have to consent for, and I'm not sure what you mean by queried. I don't have access to those online, but if you have a question about that, you could submit it to the stsdb@sts.org. Can STS offer abstraction education webinars? So we do have new data manager webinars. The first one is posted on the STS website. It's a 2-part webinar, and I'll show you where to find that. This is great if you're new to the database and you need some general information about abstraction. Under live webinars, past ACSD webinars, and then it was actually last summer. It was September 3rd was the new Data Manager Session 1, and September 10th was the new Data Manager Session 2. We will have these again in September this year, and more information will be coming on those. So if you're able to attend, I would attend these. Also, if you did not get a chance to catch, I'm going to go here to our YouTube playlist to watch the upgrade webinars that we had last year. That's a great place to go. We started them, I think it was January. Let's see here. Data spec webinar. The first one was on January 30th, 2020. These data spec webinars will walk you through the entire data collection form for version 4.2, talking about changes and help you with abstraction questions. Also, you can reach out to the Sts DB. You can also reach out to our FAQ mailbox and do that by the STS National Database clinical question request form. Melinda manages that mailbox and will help with clinical questions. I do believe that the question that Karen asked about Iqvia said months ago that they would be working on them actually a year ago. And I think they are still working on them. It seems we had a lot going on the last couple of months that kind of took them away from some of the less critical issues. So I know that they are actively working on those. Using the participant dashboard to get all PROC numbers is very time consuming. Please make this easier. Michelle, if you could send us ideas on how to make it easier, that would be great. We did the best that we could with input from the surgeons and data managers, beta testers, and things like that. So if there's something that we could help with that you think would be better or more easier, we'd love to add that into our elaboration discussions. If surgeons need help with navigating the dashboard, who would they contact? Well, you should probably help them at your site. Since you have good knowledge of this, I would help them at your site. And also, we have the videos posted. My guess is that a surgeon's not going to sit down and watch an hour-long video. So your best bet is to work with them and just kind of go through the basics with them on how to navigate the system and each of the reports. That would probably be your best bet to that. Otherwise, underneath the STS National Database under Education, Data Manager Education, we have the dashboard overview. And then we also have general navigation training, Iqvia uploader, and DQR. So there's a couple here that would help with that, but it's probably best if you sit with them and just walk through the different things. They would probably really appreciate that if you have time to do it. Will there be any streamlining of reporting access? The only way I've been able to get a second report after being in the last is to back out of the report selection, re-enter the date section, then wait for it to be loaded again. It's not quick between screens. No, right now that's how you're going to. So if you're in the report, that's the best way, is you have to select the time frames each time you go into the report. If you're in the risk adjusted report and you just want to go back, because I'm not sure how else they would know that you want a different time frame. So you have to do that, and it has to reload. Remember that all of these first three reports, the missing variable, harvest summary, and participant dashboard, these are all live data. So there's nothing static in here. It's changing every time a site uploads data. So it's not like it can easily just pull that data out and display it on a screen. It has to take time to pull everything that all the sites have been submitting and repopulate the dashboard each time you reload that page. The risk adjusted dashboard reports, these are static reports, so the data is not going to change. So when you click on it, it shouldn't take too long to load. It should all pretty much be there. When it goes, it's just going to take time to populate, but it shouldn't take too long. But sometimes I have noticed that it does, and Iqvia did did make some changes to make it populate faster. You also have to remember I'm running a webinar off of my computer at the same time and sharing my screen and all that. So it's going to take my computer longer to process everything. But it shouldn't, these pages are static, so it shouldn't take too much time to repopulate this information. When you're in each of these reports, you just use the home button to go back to that same, you shouldn't have to reload each of those pages. If you're seeing a significant delay, Susan, I would reach out to Iqvia and just let them know maybe there's something that they can help you with regarding connections. Can a report be queried on blood usage for a patient population in Iqvia? So I don't know, let's see here. I'm doing pretty good. Still have 150 folks on, so I hope it's okay that I'm going over. I don't have anything else on my calendar besides answering email. So blood usage for a patient in the Iqvia population. So I don't know if we report that out or not. Let's see. That is, oh, I think we do report it out. So we have in operative, I think we have the blood products intraoperatively, and I think post-operatively. Again, this is reloading after everybody submits data. This is going to reload each time. I think we have, I'm in the operative one. Intra-op blood products used. Yes or no? If you want to get more specific than that, you're probably going to have to put a request in through the research center. We also have in the post-operative section is one that is intra and post-operative blood products. So your site and then the STS numbers are here. And again, the graphs at the top, you can select, actually, these are the 3 that we report out. I think we report this in the benchmarked report as well, in the risk-adjusted dashboard report. Let me see. I'm not 100% positive, but let me check here. I think we reported out in one of the benchmarked reports. And I know we don't get granular there regarding each blood product. You could either put in a request to the research center or query your own data, but I know you're looking for the STS data. So if I go to isolated cab and I look in operative information, this is the, there it is. So under blood products used, it doesn't, oh, it does. We do get granular here. So these are your 4 here, your site for the current reporting year, and then the 3 after that, and then the different types of products. STS is in the red, I believe. Yeah, STS is in the red. Your light group is in the yellow. So that information is here for the reporting time frame. And if you need to make these bigger, you can, you can use that to get more granular with it. I'm finding that data lines are missing when exporting. Could you please send that into Iqvia so they can work with you in the support area? If you haven't done so already, Michelle. Change in thoracotomy data collection. Do we need to go back and change our data entry to reflect current changes? No, just starting with the date, Vilma, starting with the date that entry was put into the training manual, which we have it labeled as June 2021. Starting with June 1st, 2021, we would want you to start practicing the thoracotomy changes. Why is an ASD an exclusion for Cabbage? Because they must have seen an increased risk for those patients that took them out of that population. That's all determined when they build the risk models. What goes in, what stays out, what doesn't matter. So usually when they use something as an exclusion criteria, it's because that they didn't have enough cases to determine if it was impactful, or they determined that it had a higher risk for those patients and they weren't able to calculate appropriately for them. When a subxiphoid incision is made for a convergent procedure and then a VATS incision is used to ligate the left atrial appendage, how do you code that? Tony, if you could please send this in to Melinda. That's a great question. And I think it's probably best if Melinda were to answer that. I don't want to give a wrong answer, and I like for us to be consistent with what we're telling folks. So under the STS National Database, if you could submit that using a clinical request form. Melinda's out this week, but she's usually very quick at getting back with answers unless we have to go to the surgeons for clarification. Is there any estimated resolution time for the May 7th Iqvia known issue of the isolated mitral valve in hospital mortality? I'm not sure what the question is, Anne-Marie. I'm very sorry. Is there any estimated resolution time for the May 7th Iqvia known issue of the isolated mitral repair in hospital mortality within the Harvest 4 report? I'm not sure of that issue. So if you could just, I would reach back out to Iqvia if you haven't, so you can get a ticket number and they can follow up with you. I'm really sorry, I don't know what that one is. Next question, any idea on how we can most efficiently go back and change the past mini thoracotomies that we coded as other? Just leave them as other, starting with June 1st cases, code them as thoracotomies. I see this now resolved per the May. Oh, thank goodness, Anne-Marie, because I had no idea. Okay. How much help should we be getting from our vendors to clean up data? Well, you can run reports within your vendor software to clean up your data prior to submission, and I highly suggest doing that. Your data should be fairly clean coming in the door to Iqvia. So using your vendor's tools, I would use that to make sure that once that you do submit that data to Iqvia, you have minimal cleanup. Most of my cleanup, when I abstracted, most of my cleanup occurred in my vendor software. Can you please tell me how STS calculates hospital length of stay? We actually have 2 hospital length of stays that we calculate, but for reporting purposes, I think the NQF measures, we use the, I don't know if they're NQF measures or not, sorry, but we use the OR exit to discharge. And you can find that under quality and safety performance measures. I think it's here, and if not, I'll know where to find it. Okay. It's not here. It must be under, oopsie, the NQF ones. Maybe. That's not what I meant to do. I can show you here. My mouse is getting tired, sorry. Benchmark. Length of stay. So total length of stay, post-procedure length of stay. Post-procedure length of stay is used to calculate it from OR exit to discharge. Karen's asking about report for data inconsistency relational errors. So those are your warnings, your errors, and your critical errors, Karen, that we provide back on the Harvest uploader and in the Harvest summary reports. These are the same checks, and additional checks or updated checks for version 4.20 that we had in place with DCRI. Some of these checks are already implemented in your vendor software. So you're already getting some of these warnings and error messages within your vendor software. Additional ones were added at Iqvia, and they are the same. That's what makes up our missing report. And the way to see what's in the missing variable, I'm sorry, the way to see what's in there is look at the errors and warnings reference list, which is posted in the Iqvia resource library. And this is going to give you the entire list. Uh-oh, what did I do? this is going to give you the entire list of warnings, errors, criticals for all 3 versions that Iqvia now has in place. The warnings are going to be all of these other checks, like total time in OR is greater than 48 hours, or entry exit date may be inconsistent, because we don't expect patients to be in the OR for greater than 48 hours. It is possible, but hopefully not. So we just have that. So these, you can find these are all that are in place now. Those are the warnings. These are the errors that are in place. These are the critical errors that are in place. And I think this sheet needs to be updated because it looks like, yeah, this is from December. I think we've had a recent update to these. But, and I'll ask Melanie on our next call, but just so you're aware, they are posted. And let's see what else. The problem with the blood report is when it is exported, it does not look like this. I have reported this to Iqvia also. Thanks, Pat. And I'm sure Iqvia is aware then, and we'll probably be working on an elaboration call to address it. My vendor is not providing me with tools for cleanup. I would say that to reach out to your vendor, because they should really have tools in there to help you clean up your data. There should be different reports that you can run to make sure that it's doing what that your data is looking like what it's supposed to be looking at. When we send the specs out to the vendors, when they build the software specifications, we include information about that to them. Each vendor has different functionality, and that's really, how they sell their products. So we can't really dictate everything that they make available, but they should be following these specifications. And I think this is where you're going to find the type of what types of checks we ask for them, or what types of the features that we have we ask for them to provide. And I think this is probably under the general features is where you're going to find that. Software must execute a specified list of data quality checks when user attempts to save a record. We've provided those checks. The software must include a utility that allows user to check the completeness of all their fields, to select fields and include in the data checks, including all fields or just specified fields. So there's quite a bit that we ask them, or that they have to be certified on. So you must be able to do ad hoc queries through the software or by a third party and things like that. I would just reach out to them. Maybe they can help you with that, or maybe you can find, if you have other data managers that you're familiar with, maybe they can help you with the type of vendor that you have, how they clean up their data. So that's that. You're welcome, Vilma. Where did you get the blood report? Under benchmark. Yep, I got it under. So it was under both, but the granular one was under the risk adjusted dashboard report, and it was under benchmark. And I had selected, I think that was for Cabbage, and then it's in 2 spots. It's in the operative section and the post-operative section. The operative section contains just the operative blood products, the intra-op blood products. The post-op section contains both post-op only and intra plus post-op. So under isolated cab, under operative information, you'll find you'll find the one blood product. This is just intra-op blood products. And then the other one, if I go back to this benchmarked button, this other one is under, I think it's post-op info. Let's see, I think it's post-op information. Yeah, blood products used. We have blood products used. This is just post-op, and then total blood products used, which is a combination of the intra and post-op. So if I just want to see my, if I just want to see, this is total blood products. I want to see my post-op blood products compared to my total blood products. I can just pull up these two graphs. You can see this one's pretty. Well, I don't know why that graph defaulted. So crazy. Oh, brother. Now Iqvia is not on to see the struggles. Blood products use, this is my post-op and then my total intra and post. Okay. Thank you, Carol. You're welcome, Pat. Thank you. And you're welcome, Michelle. And then last question, let's see, it looks like a long one. I saved it for last. Risk-adjusted coronary artery bypass readmission in the NQF measure. However, I have an isolated Cabbage case that is greater than 65 years old and Medicare fee-for-service, which is Medicare Part B, with a missing readmission not showing up in Iqvia's NQF missing variable report. It only showed up in the all missing variable report. I feel like missing a readmit should have a bracketed 3 and be in the NQF report. The response I received from Iqvia is that readmit is not an NQF field. However, on the DCF, it is annotated as a NQF field. Hold on. Where am I going? Okay. Maybe I have it. Maybe we have it marked wrong. Sorry for the scrolling. And thanks for the last 114 people that are hanging in there and my team. I know this was a fun one for everybody. Readmission is down here. Okay, the readmit, I think. Oh, I know. I think Iqvia, I think we have this on a review with Iqvia because it is NQF, it's 2514. And I think for some reason Iqvia had a very small list of, and I don't know why, but I think we have this in for review with Iqvia because it is an NQF endorsed measure for readmission rate. Yes, you can expect, so let's see. So I think we have this coming up on Friday for our call with Iqvia. If you could please just send an email to me, Rachel, and I'll make sure to pass it on to Melanie to make sure we don't lose this one, because the email I received from Iqvia was a week or so ago regarding the NQF measures, and it looked like it needed to be reviewed with them. So if you don't mind, send me an email. I'll make sure we do that. Thank you. Our sites using direct input. Our sites using direct input using any Iqvia cleanup reports or queries not available to vendor submission sites. No, they're not. They have all of the same checks in place that the vendors have, and they have the same reports that that uploader users have, except for the uploader report, which is because they don't have to upload their data. So they're actually they don't have anything extra or anything additional. They have all the same reports. They get, the critical errors, they're not able to finalize entering that case in if there's critical error. So that has to be all cleaned up at the time of data entry. But they still have access to the missing variable report, the harvest summary report, and the participant dashboard, but nothing extra. Can we export graphs directly to PowerPoint? Yes, you should be able to export graphs directly to PowerPoint, and you would do that, I think, by that. I'm going to have to load this page again. Sorry, everybody. And this, yeah, Iqvia will have to let us know when that's updated with the NQF question. Okay, let's see. I'll show you how to do it, and then this is going to be the last question, because we've been on the phone for a long time. As you can tell, I'm I've been sitting in my house for the last 2.5 weeks. I haven't been able to do a whole lot, and I'm chatty. poor Leanne and my team have had the brunt of it.
We're fine. I just have to give Armando a heads up when he's.
What's that, Leanne?
You'll have to give Armando a heads up when he's reviewing for posting.
I can't hear you very well. I'm sure it was funny. I think when you export everything from this report, it will print out the, hold on. I think when you export this, it'll print out the graphs. I might be wrong. If that's true, I think you, if you go to export and then you you send things out to PDF, it reports out that stuff. Let's see. It's probably going to be a long report and you guys are probably going to be here. Oh, there they are. So it gave you the most recent screen that you were on, but I'm sure that there's a way to print out all pages. And that would probably print out all of the graphs. You just have to select. You can probably export the exact page you're on as well. So there is that function. The PowerPoint export is only one report page, not like the whole report. I just did it and I got 29 pages when I did the export to PDF. So, oh, the PowerPoint. I don't know. You probably have to select the pages here, I bet. It's just gonna, if you have it on active page, it's just gonna do the one page. So I bet you if you select all pages, or I bet you have to play around with these to find out what's gonna work best for you when you do the export to what, and see what settings work best for you. I bet you that would work, Pat. Okay, thank you for the wishes, and thank you for chatting with me. And I hope you guys have a great rest of the day. Thank you, my friends, for staying on with me. All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks,
have a good day.
Carol.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Oh, I want to put up my proverb. Thanks for joining. May the tide always reach your chair and you find a piece of paradise in everything you do.
Let's go to the beach, people.
Beach in my mind. All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.